The moment of truth has arrived for Social Security. And what happens next could determine whether millions of Americans sink or swim in their golden years. Right now, a battle is brewing in Washington that will decide the fate of 76 million Americans who depend on Social Security benefits. The stakes? Nothing less than survival itself. A bombshell piece of legislation just dropped on Capitol Hill, and it promises something politicians rarely deliver: bigger checks, guaranteed security, and hope for the future. But here's what the establishment doesn't want you to know about this fight. This isn't just another political game, this is war between those who believe working Americans deserve dignity and retirement, and those who think you should be grateful for scraps. The weapon in this battle? The Social Security Expansion Act. And every word of this 47-page document could mean the difference between poverty and prosperity for you and your family. While Washington plays politics with your future, ordinary Americans are suffering. The cold, hard truth? The average Social Security check is a measly $1,800 per month. Try surviving on that when rent alone devours most of your income, when prescription drugs cost more than your grocery bill. Here's the statistic that should terrify every American. Nearly 40% of seniors depend on Social Security for 90% of their income. These aren't bonus payments or luxury funds, this is survival money. And for far too many Americans, it's not nearly enough. The harsh reality: almost half of older Americans have zero retirement savings. They worked their entire lives, paid into the system, played by the rules, and now they're forced to choose between medication and food, between heating their homes and paying rent. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Bernie Sanders and a coalition of senators just declared war on this broken system. Their weapon? The Social Security Expansion Act. This isn't about band-aids or temporary fixes. This is about fundamentally changing who wins and who loses in America. The plan is audacious, some would say revolutionary. Every single American receiving Social Security would see their monthly benefits increase by $200. Not eventually, not after years of bureaucratic delays. Immediately. Picture this. If you're receiving that average $1,800 check, you'd suddenly be getting $2,000. That's more than a 10% increase. That's the difference between surviving and actually living. That's the difference between choosing between groceries and prescriptions and being able to afford both. But the establishment has rigged the game for decades. Right now, they calculate your annual increases using a formula that ignores what seniors actually spend money on. Healthcare costs are crushing older Americans, but the government pretends inflation affects everyone the same way. This legislation would change that calculation to reflect real-world expenses seniors face every day. Here's another bombshell. If you've been receiving Social Security for more than 15 years, you'd get an additional boost on top of everything else. Why? Because politicians finally acknowledged what working families have known forever. Your purchasing power disappears over time while they get richer. And here's the provision that exposes how broken our system really is. They're creating a minimum benefit tied to 125% of the federal poverty line. Translation? If you worked for 30 years, you'll never again receive Social Security benefits that leave you in poverty. But here's where this gets interesting, and where the real battle lines are drawn. To pay for these expanded benefits, they're going after the wealthy elite who've been gaming the system for decades. Right now, Social Security taxes only apply to the first $160,200 of income. If you're a billionaire making millions, you stop paying Social Security taxes after that first $160,200. Meanwhile, if you make $50,000 a year, you pay Social Security taxes on every single dollar you earn. The math is staggering and infuriating. A billionaire pays the exact same amount into Social Security as someone making $160,000. This legislation would force anyone making more than $160,000, $250,000 to start paying their fair share. We're talking about 6% of workers, the wealthiest 6%. Everyone else? Your taxes stay exactly the same, but your benefits increase dramatically. Finally, a plan that helps working families instead of padding the pockets of the already wealthy. Critics are already screaming about job creation and economic impact. But here's what they won't tell you. This proposal would extend Social Security solvency through 2096. Let that number sink in. 2096. Right now, the trust fund faces depletion by 2034. That's just over a decade away. Without changes, automatic benefit cuts of 20% are coming. This proposal eliminates that threat entirely for the next 70-plus years. For younger workers in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who've been told Social Security won't exist when they retire, this guarantees not just that it exists, but that it provides better benefits than today's broken system. This proposal also includes provisions that expose how the current system has failed women and caregivers. If you took time off work to care for a child under 12 or a disabled family member, those years currently destroy your benefit calculation. This legislation would provide Social Security credits for caregiving, finally acknowledging that unpaid care work has real economic value. But here's the harsh reality. This is just a proposal. It's not law yet. The legislative process is brutal, especially when powerful interests are fighting to maintain their advantage. Republicans have spent decades trying to privatize or gut Social Security. Even some moderate Democrats are getting cold feet. Yet here's the kicker. Social Security expansion is overwhelmingly popular with voters. Recent polling shows 85% of Americans oppose cutting Social Security benefits. Across party lines, voters want Social Security strengthened, not destroyed. However, doing nothing isn't an option. The Social Security Trustees Report is crystal clear. Without changes, automatic benefit cuts are coming in 2034. Some kind of reform is inevitable. The question is whether it helps working families or enriches the already wealthy. So what happens next? That depends on you. Stay informed while the mainstream media ignores these crucial developments. Make your voice heard by contacting your senators and representatives. Tell them how Social Security affects your family. Politicians need to hear from real people about what these benefits mean in practical, everyday terms. Help others understand what's at stake. Share this information with friends and family who might not realize how Social Security works or what these changes could mean for them. Plan for your future regardless of what happens. Create an account at ssa.gov to see your earnings record and estimated benefits. Start saving what you can, even small amounts. Don't assume Social Security won't be there, but don't assume it will cover all your retirement needs either. Remember this, you're not powerless in this process. Your voice matters. Your vote matters. Your willingness to stay informed and engaged makes a real difference. This proposal represents hope. Hope that we can do better for seniors, for people with disabilities, for working families, and for future generations. It proves that expansion is possible, that we don't have to accept a future of benefit cuts and increased poverty among older Americans. The conversation about Social Security's future is happening right now. And that conversation needs to include the voices of real people who depend on these benefits, not just politicians and policy experts in Washington. Whether this particular proposal becomes law or not, the fight for Social Security's future will determine what kind of country we become. Will we be a nation that honors the promise made to working Americans? Or will we abandon our seniors and disabled citizens to poverty and desperation? The choice is ours. The time is now. And the stakes have never been higher. If this information opened your eyes to what's really happening with Social Security, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss critical updates. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to understand what's at stake. Your engagement helps spread the truth to more people who need to hear it. But here's the question that should keep you awake at night. What happens when the wealthy elites and corporate interests launch their counterattack against this proposal? Because they will, and their response might shock you to your core.